Hello, entrepreneurs. Joe DiChiara coming to you live from downtown Flushing, New York with another amazing episode of Joe DiChiara Presents How to Win at Business. And this show is brought to you by the world's greatest sponsor in the world, bedrockuniversity.com. Visit bedrockuniversity.com. We are accepting students. Forget about COVID-19. We are open for business. We were looking for new professors, and there's a lot of great courses up there by people like Haley Gray, Mike Wolf, John Limbacher, Gina St. George, and right now they're all free, folks. So visit Bedrock University. And tonight it is my pleasure to bring to you tonight's business training. I'm starting a new weekly series. I'm going to bring this all the way up to tax season because I've realized that procrastination is a killer, folks. It's a killer. There are things in business that just suck the life out of us. And they don't teach us this in business school. Okay, I don't care if you went to Harvard, but they don't teach you about the things that suck the life out of us class. I think I might start that. But anyway, under the topic of procrastination, one of the biggest, besides going to the dentist, which is one of my things, who the heck likes going to the dentist? Who the heck likes going to I can't wait to go to my accountant and plan my taxes. It doesn't work like that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to cover the top 10 reasons why you should be doing your taxes now. You don't wait until April 14th or March 15th when the corporate deadline. You don't do it then. And I'm going to take you through that. Reason number one, folks, the most obvious, thought-provoking, mind-bending concept that every business owner, come on. Your taxes are probably the largest expense that you have in your business that you could also manipulate legally, okay, legally. So why does everybody, the bulk of the world, wait until the last minute? And I'm talking about people that have businesses. And even if you're a W-2 person, you need to take a snapshot of where you stand. I don't know about you, but I would hate going to my accountant in March and not knowing if I was going to owe 10 grand or pay 10 grand. That's just not a good place to be. Either if I'm getting 10 grand back, that means that they've had my money interest free for the whole freaking year. I don't want that. And I don't want to have to pay 10 grand. I want to know where I stand. And that's a foundational fact of running a business. It has to do with managing. You got to manage your time. You got to manage your money. And I understand the psychological barriers that stop people from doing this stuff. But here's the sad fact, folks. These are strategies that are going to help you win in business. And if you go out for the football team, you got to go to football practice. You don't just show up, unless you're like Lawrence Taylor on the New York Giants. Most people need the practice. So you got to go through the practice so you could attend the game. The numbers part of your business is like the practice in football, if that makes sense to you. You didn't sign up for the practice. You signed up to play football, but you got to do the practice if you want to play football. Okay? And business is no different. If you want to be in business, you got to do the numbers. And if you want to do it successfully, you got to be on top of the numbers. So let's just go through some of the slides. And this is what I talk about all the time, that the crux of the problem is this. And it's a lot easier to solve a problem if you know what the real problem is, because a lot of times we have a problem. What we think is the problem is not really the problem. So this is the conclusion that I've come up with in trying since I was 10 years old, when I ran my first casino, my only casino in my driveway. That was my first entrepreneurial adventure, which was a major victory. And I'm still a little mad that my parents shut me down. They didn't think that a 10-year-old should be running a casino. So, I'll leave it at that. But I've been doing this for a long time, folks. And I've come to the conclusion that forget about business. Life itself is difficult to begin with. It's complicated. We don't come into the world happy. We come in kicking and screaming and crying. And then what we do, what's not logical, what makes us insane people, where we do things that are not logical as entrepreneurs, is we take a tough situation and we make it even tougher. And it's sort of like an inside joke with entrepreneurs that I know. And it's like, we will complicate anything. We will take a simple concept and just complicate the crap out of it. And that's where we start. That's the starting point for all of us when we start a business. And that was eye-opening. And it told me why statistics like this come out. And the fact is, Forbes says that 8 out of 10 businesses fail. And I believe that it's a lot more than that. Because out of the 30 million businesses in the USA, 25 million have no employees. Those are the smallest of small businesses, the sole proprietors. They haven't even reached the entity stage. Now, the 5 million on top of them, those are the corporations. Those are the businesses that have been around. They don't turn over like the smaller businesses. And the turnover rate is about 10% a year. So every year, about 3 million businesses die, and we get 3 million new businesses. Well, those businesses aren't coming from the top. Those people, McDonald's, Ford Motor, they're not going out of business. They're up there on the top. They're diluting the business failure rate. If you want to get the true business failure, you got to take out all of those companies that just never go out of business. Those companies that went through the business gauntlet, the companies that went from having 0 employees to having 1. I mentioned to a client yesterday, he has 2 employees. We're setting him up with payroll. And he was a little down on himself because he's not any bigger. He said, I've been in business this long. And the truth is that only a small percentage of business owners actually get to hire one person besides themselves. Okay. Sole proprietors don't even hire themselves. So you got all these different little baskets of people and of business owners, and not many of them get to where they have a small fraction. So if you're there, you've passed some major hurdles. Okay. You are in a whole nother category so you have increased your chances of success just by crossing that line. And there are a couple of lines you can cross. You can become you can become an entity, not an LLC. You become a corporation. You get to the point where you hire people. These are the companies that stay in business. And the main reason why I've come to and believe me, I've done a lot of research, a lot of personal experience. And the crux of the problem is not what they say it is. The crux of the problem is that it's too damn complicated. Okay, so we take a situation, if you're living in the United States, and I don't care even if you're in a low cost state, it still costs a lot of money to live here. Okay, and we throw in all of these tax laws and all of these, and it's not just the IRS, folks, it's all the local, state and local governments too. They're probably even worse when you're dealing with the departments of labor, the sales tax department. So it is not simple. It is unbelievably complicated for a new business owner with no prior experience to go in and just be able to hire somebody. Now that to me is a fixable problem. I don't have the solution. I'm not going to waste my time, but I do know that it's way too complicated. And that leaves small business owners with one choice. Okay. Educate yourself or go out of business. Educate yourself by surrounding yourself with like-minded people. Educate yourself by getting a business coach. Educate yourself by joining a mastermind. Educate yourself by learning what a P&L is. Because if you think you're going to run your business in isolation on your own without constantly sharpening the blade, you're going to be left behind and you'll be one of those people that fail. And failing doesn't mean that you're out of business. That business might be out of that. But what we do, if you're a true entrepreneur and you go out of business, it's something you're going to start another one. That's what I always did. Okay. So we need to simplify things as much as possible. And we need to, put the work in, folks. We don't spend enough time on research and working on our business instead of in our business. You know, if you want to be an employee for the rest of your life, if you want to own a job, that's fine. But if you want to break out and have a business, like my friend Gina just did a training on sales, and she has a business where she said she does not have to be involved in the day-to-day activities. So she set up systems and procedures in her business. And I don't care how small you are, you can, and I talk about this all the time. I don't care if you're running an ice cream truck. There are procedures that have to be followed. There's numbers that are being compiled. And unless you're on top of this stuff, things are going to slip through the cracks and you're going to start losing money. And things like your taxes, and this is why I'm covering this now, things like your taxes that are a major percentage of your expenses that can be coordinated, reduced legally. If you're not on top of it and you're just letting the time go by, and you're missing opportunities. And what happens is, so let me just tell you, my goal is always to make business simple, fun, and profitable. This was another thing that they didn't teach me in CPA school. And you know, it came from life experience. You know, too many years I worked myself, you know, to exhaustion, because I thought that was the way it was supposed to be. You work hard and you make money and you retire and then you're happy. That's how my grandparents did it. They worked hard their whole life. Well, things aren't like that anymore. It doesn't have to be like that. Business does not have to be a struggle. We make it a struggle because we put up the resistance. We don't put in the we don't go to football practice. Okay, and that's the truth, folks. These are the real reasons why businesses fail. Small businesses, brand new business owners, this is what we're up against. So everything that I do basically is to try to help make things a little bit simpler for the business owner. You can't have fun. You can't be profitable if you wake up every day not knowing what the heck is going on in your business. So let's talk about why and how planning your taxes now is going to save you a lot of money. If you're out there and you're thinking about starting a business, and you have a job and you're in retirement and you have retirement income, okay? There's only two things it takes to start a business: the thought and the action. Once you take the action, you have business deductions right off the bat. Even if you haven't spent any money yet, you can start getting business deductions. So that's why, and I see a lot of people that have started businesses, they're talking about it, they even started spending money on it, but they didn't formally start the business. And a lot of times the reason being is that they think that the business starts when they start making money or when they start making, the business starts the second you take action and you can document it, and then we could start taking expenses. So at this point, we're going into October, people. You still got 3 months to save a lot of money. So if you're already spending money, if you're on start the business, formalize it. Okay. If you're going to go down to the county clerk and do a DBA, that's fine. I don't recommend that. If you know me, I set up S corporations. So the first way that a wage earner or person in retirement could start saving money right now by being on top of their taxes, to start their business, set up a bookkeeping system, hire an accountant, and figure out what you're entitled to, that's the next thing. What can you write off? Okay, so if I'm talking about, let me clarify something here. And I'm sweating because I'm so nervous. The Yankees are starting the playoffs in about a half an hour or so. I'm a huge Yankee fan, so yes. Oh, that excellent move, Elizabeth. I'm so proud of you. So Elizabeth says that she changed her DBA into an SCorp. That was a good move, Elizabeth. I'm proud of you. I hope that you're converting your personal property to business property. And I'm going to tell you right now, Elizabeth, when you do that, you could get a Section 179 deduction. So, and that'll be another lesson, what a 179 deduction, but it's huge. It's huge because when they changed the tax law, they said, hey, whatever you have in your garage or your attic and you want to use it for your business now, we're going to let you deduct it. And this is what I'm talking about. So if you have a job, let's say a W-2, and they're taking taxes out, well, you could just take that desk that is worth $10,000 and get a huge tax write-off. And that's one of the strategies. Okay, and being an S-corp like Elizabeth makes it a lot easier, safer, cleaner to deduct. But unless you're looking at this stuff now, folks, and that's what the whole purpose of this training is, I want to alert people to the fact that, and I just remembered what the point was that I wanted to make. But this is it. The difference between a tax preparer and an accountant. Okay, and you got to understand the difference. A tax preparer is somebody that you go to once a year. At the end of the year, you bring them your stuff and they input the data into a computer program and they spit out your tax return. That's what tax preparation is now. That's not tax planning. That's not accounting. That's not for businesses. If you're like my sister who has a teaching job and no deductions, she can use a tax preparer. She actually did her own, because she's got one document, a W-2, there's no business deductions. Those are the people that can go to a tax preparer. That you can go to H&R Block for. But if you have a business and you're going to H&R Block, you are doing yourself a huge disservice. Because this is what happens, folks. Your taxes are being recalculated after every transaction. It's not at the end of the year. It's not like you just push a button and say, oh, what do we get it's like a lottery. Do we owe money? Are we getting money? That's not how it works when you have a business. Every transaction, it's a moving target. It's I had a client yesterday. She texted me. They just sold a piece of equipment for $200,000. $200,000. Well, thank you. Thank you for not telling me in March. Because now, and she knows, now we could look at where they stand and see if we want to accelerate expenses, but because she's going to have to pay tax on that. Well, I've taught her that don't tell me in April when I got to tell you that you got to write a check for $60,000. And then you're going to be mad at me, because that's not how it works, people. If you have a business, and it could be on a quarterly basis, it doesn't matter, but you got to be on top of it. And this is another, and I talk about this all the time, and I think it's one of Elizabeth's favorite topics, where you could convert personal property to business property. So what does that mean? It means, yesterday you didn't have a business. Today you have one. And today you're going to use your car for business. You're going to drive to Staples to buy some copy paper. That is a business activity. Okay? You can start writing off the part of your car. Whatever percentage that you use for business is now a business deduction. Why wouldn't you want to take advantage of that? If you're an employee, if you're a retiree, okay? If you have a hobby and you want to turn it into a business, okay? Every time you go to the hobby store to buy supplies, it's a business write-off. And we need to take advantage of these things, folks, because the odds are stacked against us. When we start a business, it's stacked against us. The home office, okay, cover this a lot now, because basically everybody is working from home, whether you like it or not. Well, now, if you have an SCorp, there is a safe, clean, legal, easy way to reimburse yourself for the expenses of the business portion of your house or apartment. And you write yourself a check, and the IRS has no idea that that expense is part of your house. And that's legal, and we call that an accountable plan. And I have a whole template for that, and I highly encourage people to use that. Now, if you're a sole proprietor, you could still take the home office deduction, but because it's a different tax return and it's attached to your personal, when you're using your home or apartment for business use, the IRS wants to know every little detail. Every little, if you're a sole proprietor. So SCorps are in a whole different category. So now you could see, well, that seems like a little bit of a discrimination factor. Why is the government letting SCorps, do it this way, but sole proprietors have to do it this way? And that's the way the system is set up. The system is set up for small business owners to fail, unfortunately. Maybe not by design, but just the way it is now, with the way the legal, insurance, banking, government, the fact that they know basically everything you're doing. All of these things are going against you as a small business owner. So an SCorp gives you some, not only legal protection, but sort of like an IRS shield. And like I said, you can start writing off your car. Even if your car looks like this, okay? I don't care. There's a value to it. It's being used. There's an expense attached to it. I'm taking it as a deduction. Travel, all of my business discussions are done in other countries. So I plan my vacations around my business needs, if that makes sense. And I'm not going to go any further with that, but I will tell you that, they do large cruises where they teach accounting credits. I can go on a cruise and get my accounting credits, and it counts as a business deduction because I'm there for the accounting credits. Now, I'm not there for the cruise. I'm there to learn. It just happens to be on a cruise that costs $10,000 for a $200 course. Anyway, another, and this is last but not least, now this only works in limited situations where you might be able to hire your kids. Okay, if you're in a high tax bracket, and you got to start saving for your kids' education, you don't get a tax write-off for saving for college. Well, if you gave your children some chores to do around your business, and you paid them and let them save for college, well, now you just got a tax write-off, and your kids have their own money, they're earning it, and that's another strategy. Now, that's the end of this training. Take action. If you've learned anything from this, if you've gotten anything from this and you don't use it, you just basically wasted your time. And I don't like to see anybody waste their time. So hopefully this is useful information. It'll help you take action. If you would like to connect with me, you can always go to Time with Joe. I'll free chat on your business. Don't connect with me to pitch me. I don't have time for that. But if you have questions about how to get your business started and on track and how to implement some of these strategies, Time with Joe. Go to Bedrock University for some free courses on topics like this. And let me just invite you to one last thing, Mastermind with Joe DiChiara.com. We meet every Saturday at 2 p.m. Eastern time for mind-bending business discussions, solutions, hot seats, trainings. It's a lot of fun. We all love it. People, and it's on the weekend, and people keep showing up, so there must be something to that. That's my story. I am sticking with it still. Joe DiChiara, God bless. Over and out. I will see you tomorrow. Thank you.